Last time we talked about token economy. Let's look at rate limits and AMP security in a production environment. A screenshot containing the words "ignore previous instructions" is not a caption. It's an injection vector. Text inside an image is untrusted input, exactly like a search result or a tool response. The gap between a working integration and a production one is mostly this: what happens under stress, when a rate limit hits, or when something in your context turns hostile. 3 independent rate limits per model, a token bucket mechanism that rewards gradual backoff, a workspace boundary doing 5 jobs at once, and a defense model built on configuration rather than persuasion. This is the checklist that separates a demo from something that survives production traffic. This one shows up constantly. Opus 4.8, 4.7, 4.6, and 4.5 all draw from a single combined rate limit bucket. Sonnet 4.6 and 4.5 share their own combined bucket. But Opus 5 and Sonnet 5 each got their own dedicated bucket. Neither one is part of the legacy for X-pools, and assuming otherwise is exactly the trap this table exists to catch. Rate limiting here uses a token bucket, not a fixed window that resets on the minute, and 2 things follow from that. A burst of requests all at once can 429 even while you're technically under your stated limit, because capacity replenishes continuously rather than all at once. And backing off genuinely works. Capacity refills while you wait, so exponential backoff actually recovers instead of just deferring the same collision to a moment later. One more thing worth knowing: because cache reads are excluded from the input token limit, a high hit rate turns caching into a scaling lever, not just a cost one. And max_tokens costs you nothing at the rate limit at all. Output tokens per minute counts what was actually generated, never the ceiling you asked for. Every non-workspace source of text is untrusted: search results, fetched pages, MCP results, uploaded documents, and text rendered inside images, all of it. The pattern is to wrap retrieved content behind a preamble that tells the model explicitly to treat it as data, never as instructions, inside a delimited block a payload can't forge its way out of. But the preamble alone isn't the whole defense. For structural things actually hold, deny list destructive tools at the configuration level instead of asking nicely, confirm consequential actions with a human in the loop, never follow a URL a tool result told you to follow without checking it yourself, and cap how many tokens a fetched page can flood into your context. For thing people make mistakes on. The last ones in this whole track. 1. You can't set limits on the default workspace. Unset workspace limits inherit straight from the org, and org-wide limits always apply no matter how workspace limits add up. 2. Spend caps up a calendar month and they actually pause usage when hit, not just warn you. $500 on start, $1,000 on build, $200,000 on scale. 3. Managed agents runs its own separate rate limits entirely apart from the messages API, 300 requests a minute on create endpoints, 1200 on read. 4. Never log full prompts or responses by default. Log the request ID, the usage ledger, and the stop reason. That's what you'll actually need at 3 in the morning, without the user data liability. So, rate limits reward gradual traffic and punish bursts. Workspaces are your isolation primitive for exactly that reason, and every piece of text that didn't come from your own code is data to analyze, never an instruction to follow. Get those 3 things right and you've closed most of the gap between a demo and something that survives real traffic. That's the whole track: 16 modules, 1 platform, from the request envelope all the way to production security. If clear, sensible thinking is what you are after, subscribing is the most direct way to get the next one. See you in the next video.